They bring in Charles Barkley, NBA on TNT, Hall of Famer, and was on the CBS pregame show yesterday. He joins us now. Surprised that your comments got some traction yesterday?
Not at all. Number one, I don't care. I don't read all. My friends called me and say they were talking to those losers on Twitter last night. But I said it was all right to beat their kid. That's why I don't do any of that social media stuff, man. First of all, Tony Dungy proved again, man. He's just an amazing person, amazing man. Listen, man. I can't believe the way this thing is going down. Listen, Adrian Peterson. I don't know him. It's interesting. Most people don't even know that. You know, the first grand jury didn't indict him. So there are some people out there who think, like me, that this is a way overblown story. We can debate whether Adrian Peterson went overboard. We can debate that. But if the first grand jury didn't see anything wrong, this sounds like some lightweight prosecutor just trying to get some free pub to me, to be honest with you.
Well, there's a fine line, though, in, you're going to punish and you're going to abuse.
Yeah, there is a line. I totally agree with that. But to charge somebody, listen, I think, and Adrian said maybe I went a little overboard. First of all, my grandmother probably went overboard a couple times. And most people, the thing that was interesting, a lot of my friends who are white and Italian sent me a text last night says, I don't understand why you're making this a black thing. Our parents spanked the hell out of us, too.
I said the same thing. I grew up in a Midwest family, obviously a white family, and, we had the same kind of discipline on occasion.
And listen, like I say, the only thing we can debate whether Adrian went a little too far, and I think he's admitted he went a little too far. And I will say this too. I don't think if the Ray Rice thing happened last week, I don't think they would have benched Adrian Peterson. I just think with the climate, with the Ray Rice, and everybody fumbled, Dan. Ray Rice screwed up. The commissioner screwed up. And now we got to try to turn this thing into a positive, and try to talk about domestic violence. I mean, everybody screwed up in the NFL on this thing. But now we got to turn this thing into a positive. And we got to find a way we can bring great awareness to a tough situation. And that's the only thing we can do. But Tony said something interesting. That's the really interesting thing. Everybody wants everybody to be perfect. And Dan, I don't kiss the media's ass and I don't kiss the public's ass. They're the only perfect people. The media is perfect and the public's perfect. That's what they think. But they're not. They're just hypocrites. Listen, Ray Rice made a mistake. I think every player would say that. And he should be punished, and he should be given another chance to play in the NFL. I don't think you see players going around saying they're mistreating Ray Rice. Ray Rice made a horrible mistake, and he needs to pay for that. But it just bothers me how everybody who gets in the media and these idiots in the public, they act like they ain't never made a mistake, and it drives me crazy. That's one of the reasons I always save my money, so I can always tell these people to shut the hell up and kiss my ass all the time.
Charles Barkley, NBA on TNT, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. If it's found that it is child abuse, what do you think the Vikings then will do with Adrian Peterson?
Man, listen, like I say, I'm not a judge, and I try not to play judge and jury over people. I don't think it was child abuse. I actually think that should be a conversation between Adrian Peterson and the mother's child and say, hey, man, you want, and like I said, I think Adrian Peterson went a little overboard, obviously. But that's a conversation between him and that mother. To bring, like I say, Dan, I don't understand why the first grand jury didn't indict him, why it went back a second time. This sounds like it was somebody just out to get Adrian Peterson. Because I went and did my research. The first grand jury, they didn't indict him. So that made me think, like, man, they were like, okay, child abuse is a little strong. Did he go a little overboard? Probably. But the notion that this is child abuse, that wouldn't be my definition of child abuse. I mean, let me tell you something. I've had the switches, I've had the Hot Wheel racetracks, which I used to tell kids when I was growing up, don't ever get those Hot Wheel racetracks, because that's what's coming out the switches, and we've all had belts. And like I say, I'm pretty sure my grandmother is the greatest woman who ever lived, maybe have crossed the line at times. But you know what? I feel pretty good about the person I am today. And
but isn't it generational, though, Charles, that, yes, it was like that 20, 30, 40 years ago, but we've changed?
Well, I think we have changed, but also I think it depends on where you grew up also. And, you know, like I say, do we need to be spanking kids as much as we did back in the day? Probably not. I'll agree with that. But I'm saying we're all somewhat a product of our environment. I have a 25-year-old daughter. I'm pretty sure I spanked her a few times. She's a great kid. I hope I never crossed the line. I hope she but I think we don't even know what this kid did. And I'm not trying to blame the kid.
But you didn't do what you didn't do
anything.
Charles, you didn't do what your grandmother did to you. You didn't do that to your daughter.
Probably, I don't think I crossed the line, but she was spanked pretty good a few times, and she probably deserved it at that time. But I think you have to really be careful where we get to judge and play judge and jury over all these people, kids. Like that, you got kids, right?
Yep.
I don't get the right to say, oh, I saw you do something to your kid. Let me take it to the grand jury. Let me call the cops. Unless it's 100% proven. I mean, like I say, this is such a slippery slope right here. And I personally don't believe if the Ray Rice thing hadn't happened, they would have indicted or made such a big deal out of this Adrian Peterson thing.
Well, I'm anxious to hear more about this. Was it the mother of the boy who maybe turned Adrian Peterson in? I don't know how they got the pictures here, but somebody had to tell somebody to look at the photographs. My problem is this, Charles. The boy is 4 years old. How much discipline does he need?
That's a great question. Like I say, Dan, I think that's a legitimate question. But I think that's a long way from child abuse. This guy got a chance of going to jail.
Yep.
Like like I say, maybe somebody needs to sit him down and talk to him. But you're talking about taking a guy. There's a chance this guy can go to jail. And like I say, my biggest problem with this whole thing: why didn't the first grand jury indict him? They must have saw it the way that I see it. Like, yeah, maybe he went a little overboard. Let the mother and father get together and say, hey, calm down. Let's talk about this. But when you talk about putting somebody in jail, I think you have to be really, really sure. And like I say, man, I love what Tony Dungy had to say. All these hypocrites in public and all these jackasses in the media, they get on TV and they think they're God. It's just your opinion. They're not God. They don't get to play judge and jury over it. That's the thing that drives me crazy the most when I'm watching television. Everybody want to act like they're perfect and they never made a mistake.
But they have to have Charles.
It's just not on television all the time.
They're paid to have an opinion. They can't
go. No. Like I say, my opinion is, Adrian, and that's what I'm saying. But you don't get to play judge and jury. You says, I don't know if I think Adrian Peterson might have crossed the line a little bit, but I don't think he should go to jail for that. Well, that's my opinion.
You know that Martha Stewart went to jail.
Yeah, because she did something crooked.
Okay, what she did.
It's called insider trading.
I know, but that happens every single day. But we picked Martha Stewart to send to jail
because she was famous.
Yes,
Hold
I
on.
understand that.
That's a perfect example. They put her in jail because she was Martha Stewart. They ain't worried about women getting hit before Ray's Rice hit his woman. They ain't worried about child abuse before Adrian Peterson did it. That helps my point. All these jackasses in the media, they go crazy when a celebrity do something wrong. They ain't been complaining about women get hit. It's been a problem. I ain't never hit a woman, and I hope and pray I never will. But all of a sudden, everybody's going crazy on domestic violence because Ray Rice. Same thing with Adrian Peterson. This stuff been going on for years, Dan.
Should
But
leagues?
You just made a great point. We just can't go crazy every time a celebrity do something. That's my point exactly.
Should leagues handle the off-the-field discipline?
Well, I think it depends. And Tony Dunn, it's an individual situation. You know, it's an individual situation. Should the league do it? I think we should have a committee between players and I guess management. You know, I think we should have an arbitrator. I think it'd be the best way to explain it. But let me tell you something. I don't know Roger Goodell, and I don't know if he ever saw that tape. But it's fair, in my personal opinion, the entire NFL dropped the ball on this situation. Ray Rice, I wish him the best. I hope some owner has the courage to give him another chance. I hope and pray that. The guy made an awful mistake. But I'm just, and you know, all these people are killing these women who are wearing Ray Rice jerseys and Adrian Peterson jerseys. Just because you're supporting somebody does not mean you support their action. That does not mean that. Ray Rice was 100% wrong. But I'm watching all these idiots on television talking about these women are disgraceful. And those women said Ray Rice should be punished, but he should be given another chance. And they said the same thing about these people who wore Adrian Peterson jerseys this weekend. These people are a disgrace. They're supporting child abuse. No, they're not. When people make mistakes, we just shouldn't throw them out with the trash. Ray Rice should get punished. And he should get another chance in the NFL. Now, like I say, the Adrian Peterson thing is a little different for me. I got spanked with switches as a kid, me and my two brothers. Is it child abuse? That's who you talk to about it.
Well, I think there's forms of discipline. When I was hit with a belt or a switch, I think people would have a hard time finding child abuse in that. But when I see where there's multiple lacerations there, or he even talks about maybe he went overboard. You know, it's what does somebody look as discipline and somebody else see as child abuse? That's what this comes down to.
I think the guy admitted I might have went a little overboard, but to go from I went a little overboard to child abuse, I think that's a stretch.
Well, we'll see what else.
I had plenty of whelps and lacerations on my body at times, and my mom, she's been great. My grandmother's the one who did all the discipline. She's the greatest person I've ever met. Like I say, I will have a debate whether Adrian Peterson went over the line. That's a debate. But to go from discipline to child abuse, I think that's a stretch.
Good to visit with you, Charles. Glad you're fired up.
Always, my brother. Hey, Dan, I just want to apologize. I just want to, sorry for being not perfect like the public and all these media types. I'm sorry that I just have had issues in my life. I wish I could be perfect like the public and all these media types. So that's what I want to apologize for.
Well, I've only known you 25 years, so there's still time for you to be perfect.
I'm still working on it, Dan.
I know. You should. Thank you, Charles.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, Charles Barkley, NBA on TNT.